All right, Part 172, Title 49, PHMSA, 172, Subpart H, Training. Purpose and Scope. Purpose. The subpart prescribes the requirements for the training hazmat employees. Scope. Training is used to support the means of the systematic program that usually ensure the hazardous employees are familiar with the general provision subchapter is able to recognize and identify hazardous material, has the knowledge of the specific requirements subchapter applicable to the functions performed. The employee has the knowledge of emergency response and information self-protection measures, accident prevention methods, and procedures. Module specified training requirements. Additional training requirements for the individual modes of transportation prescribed in parts 174, 175, 176, 177, subchapter 172.701, federal-state relationship. Subpart with the parts prescribed in statute 172.700 prescribe the minimum training requirements of the transportation hazardous material for the motor vehicle drivers. However, the state may impose more stringent training requirements only in those requirements. Hey, do not conflict with the training requirements in this subpart and in part 177 of the subchapter apply only to drivers the mile side in the state. 172.702 applicability responsible for the training and testing hazmat employees shall ensure each of the hazmat employees and the trained according to the requirements described in the subpart. Except as provided in paragraphs 172.704c1, hazmat employees perform the function subject with the requirements subchapter, but they not performing the functions left in the instructed requirements for the subchapter apply for the function and duty each for the hazmat employees comply with the applicable requirements of the subchapter 2 that thoroughly instruct each of the hazmat employees in relation thereto. Training may be provided with the hazmat employees or other public or private sources. Hazmat employees shall ensure that each of the hazmat employees is tested in appropriate means of the training subject from statute 174.704. 172.704 Training requirements. Hazmat employees training must include the following: general awareness familiarization training. The hazmat employees shall provide with the general awareness familiarization designed to provide familiarity with the requirements of the subchapter and enable the employees to recognize and identify the hazard materials consistent with the hazmat communication standard of the subchapter. Set 2 function specific training. Each of the hazmat employees must be provided with the function specific training concerning with the requirements of the subchapter, exemptions, special permit issue for the under subchapter A with the subchapter with the specifically applicable to the function of the employee performs. 2. All alternatively function-specific training with requirements subchapter training relating to the requirements of the ICAO and technical instructions in the IMDGA code may be provided extent such as the training and aware address functions that authorized in subpart C, so as part 171 subpart chapter. 3. Safety training. Each hazmat employee shall receive safety training concerning the emergency response information required in subpart G of part 172, measure and protect the employee with hazards associated with hazard materials in which they may be exposed in the workplace, including specific measures for the hazmat employees implemented to protect employees from the exposure. Method of procedure avoiding accidents and proper procedure for the handling package containing the hazard material. 4. Security awareness training. Each hazmat must receive the training provided with awareness of the security risks associated with the hazard material transportation method design to enhance transportation security, and training must be included with the component covering how to recognize the responsibility, security threats. New hazmat employees must receive security awareness training required within the paragraph and within 90 days after employment. In-depth security training. Each of the hazmat employees personally required for the security plan according to the subpart 1 of the chat part with the handle of the hazmat material covered by the plan performance regulated function related to the hazard material covered by this plan. The responsible for the implementation of the plan must be trained with the core concerning the security plan and implementation security training must include the security containing security objectives, the organizational security of structures, specific security procedures, specific structure, security duties, responsibility for each of the employee, and specific actions to be taken for each of the employee in the event of security breach. All right, OSHA, your EPA, and other training. Training conducted by the employers to comply with the hazardous communication programs required by the Occupational Safety Hazard Administration of the Department of Labor or the Environmental Protection Agency. Training conduct employers to comply. Security training programs required for the federal and international agencies may be used to satisfy training requirements, including a paragraph A with the section with the extent of such of the training to address the training compliance components specified in paragraph A of the section. C. Initial recurrent training. Initial training. A new hazmat employee will change job functions may perform the function prior to the completion of the training provided. The employee performs the function under the direction and supervision of the properly trained and knowledge hazmat employee, and the trainer is completed within 90 days after the employment or change of the job function. 2. Recurrent training. Hazmat employees must receive training required with the subpart at least once every 3 years in depth of the security training required under the paragraph A5 of the section. Hazmat employees must be trained in at least once every 3 years, or if security is plan training is required, is revised during the 3-year recurrent training cycle within 90 days implementing the revised plan. 3. The relevant training. Relevant training received with the previous employer or other sources may be used to satisfy the requirements of the subpart provided with the current record of the training is obtained with the hazmat employee's previous employer. Compliance. Each hazmat employee is responsible for compliance with the requirements of the subpart chapter, regardless of whether the training is required by the subchapter has been completed. 2. Record keeping. Each hazmat employee must create and retain a record of the current training of each of the hazmat employees, inclusive of the preceding 3 years, in accordance with this section, along with the employee employed by the employer as a hazmat employee for the 90 days after, as the hazmat employer must make a hazmat employee record of the current training available upon request, responsible time and location authorized official of the Department of Transportation and with explicit granting authority to enforce hazmat regulations. The record must include the hazmat employee's name, the most recent training completing date with the hazmat employee training, the description copy of the location of the training materials used to meet the requirements of paragraph A of the section, the name and address for the person provided with the training, certification of the hazmat employee has been trained and tested and required by this part. Subpart limitation. The following limitations apply to the hazmat employee who repairs, modifies, recondition, testing, packaging, is qualified for the use of the transportation of hazmat material, who does not perform any other function subject to requirements if the subchapter is not subject to training of the paragraph A3. A railroad maintenance of the way employee or the railroad signalman who does not perform any of the functions subject to the requirement of the subchapter is not subject to the training requirements of paragraph A2, A4, and A5 of the section. Subpart I, safety and security plans.